Hello and welcome to the A&P. I am Alex Johansson and my co-host Patrick McCallum. Patrick,
Hello, everyone. How are you getting on?
we're having logical discussions about the state of the world. Let's get into it, brother. All right, Patrick. It looks like you got something for me this time, buddy. What is it? What do we got here?
It makes a change, doesn't it? It's a new video this time.
Well, it was your turn,
it's a channel
I suppose.
called, it comes from Cold Fusion. He's a very kind of straight, very, very good business channel, very good insight to not just business, but social issues. Very straight up and down facts, less of the hyperbolic stuff that can be out there sometimes.
Right.
Very straight up and down.
All right. Well, let Mr. Fusion do his thing.
Picture this: a young adult man, out of shape, living in his mother's basement, eating junk food, playing video games, and has a bottom-of-the-barrel job. For a long time, this has been comic relief in popular culture. What self-respecting 30-year-old would have such a life? He's obviously a loser who doesn't try in life, so we can laugh at this character to make ourselves feel better. 25 years ago, this situation was seen as comic relief, and I'm not just saying that. This clip from the year 2000 is from a show called Get a Life, and it features the main character, Chris Peterson.
Let me just say this as precisely as I possibly can. You're 30 years old. You still live with your parents. You're losing your hair. And you're stupid. Yeah, I think that just about covers it.
Wow.
Now this...
That's 1990s.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, that was 90s TV. 90s TV was a very weird time.
Well, it was also the dopey dad thing, right? All the dads are dopey dads, and all the chicks are smarmy and cute and funny and awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I remember. God, I can't remember. God, that TV was bad.
It was pretty bad.
I can't even think of one or two shows that come to mind that were actually anyway.
Well, there was
watchable.
Married with Children was really, really good. But that was still the dopey dad thing with, it was some weird gestalt from the 70s to moving forward. But it seemed like a lot of these programs are just dad's a dipshit and everybody's smarter than dad. Right. And it's a very weird dynamic.
I think what he's getting to there is, the guy living in mom's basement, eating pizza and playing video games was a bit of a joke when we were growing up, because it was so out of normal left field that very few of us did it. Because you all got to work, you rent, you get a house, and so on. Now those young people don't have that anymore. I think that's the point he was trying to get to there.
Yeah, there's a game plan. You're gonna get a job. You're gonna get a house. You're gonna raise your 2.1 kids with a dog and a white picket fence. But it's like that shit's gone. It's like it's gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It is so absolutely insane. And a lot of that is now you have to have dual income to get a house, right?
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. There's no way, very few people under the age of 35 will get their own house on their own without a partner with them.
Right. For sure.
Yeah, very few.
But then the expectation is how are you going to raise good kids if both mom and dad have to work? If all they can do is just scrape together enough money to keep the household going, right? It's rough. But I think a lot of it has to do with, kids aren't taught budgeting, right? There's some things you should be taught when you get to the American equivalent of high school. Taxes, how do you file taxes? How do you balance a checkbook? And how do you talk to local law enforcement, right?
Yes.
If you knew those three things,
we have the same issues here. Exactly the same issues.
Right.
Yeah. Most G7 countries have the same issues. Most kids, if you gave them, say, a 10-euro budget every week, they would have it gone within 2 hours of getting it. Not to hold on to it for the, budget out for the week, or they just don't have any life skills. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Pretty much.
Very few life skills.
And when it comes to how to talk to law enforcement, they would be told, here are your rights. Here's what they're allowed to do. Here's what they're not allowed to do. Don't talk back to them. Talk to the judge.
Yeah.
You will have your
very
day
few.
in court.
Yeah. I said that to young people. I said, look, even if he's been a bit of an ass to you, don't bother. It's not worth your time arguing back with them.
Yes, sir. No, sir. 3 bags full. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
That's what the judge, as I said to him, that's what the solicitor is for.
Yeah.
But your solicitor in the morning, let them deal with it.
For sure.
And also, I've always said it to young people, and I'll say it again. If you, for any reason, think you're being stopped illegally or whatever, take out you have a phone. You have a everyone has a smartphone. You can legally record them, same as they can record you.
Right.
The same laws in the States, I presume, we have over here.
Yeah, for the most part, because it's a First Amendment right, freedom of speech, you can record your interaction with government officials, right?
Yep.
And there's actually a lot of YouTube channels where they have people who go into places that are supposed to be public places, and the people who work there are like, you can't do this. And he's like, well, I have a First Amendment right to do it. I'm going to do it. There's a guy in New York that does
it's a public building.
What's that?
Yeah. It's a public building.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. You have the same laws here.
Yeah, but
exactly.
People get real jammed up because they just don't want a camera in there. But you got a job in the public sector. If you're sucking on the public's teat, you should probably, know the law.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, let's see what he's got to say next.
Doesn't exactly ring the same in the mid-2020s. It's fairly common today to have men in their late 20s and early 30s living at home. In fact, in the US, 55% of 18 to 30-year-old men still live at home. In Australia, that number's around 54%. Something that people joked about in movies or on TV 25 years ago is basically the norm today for men. Women are doing better in this department, with less of them living at home, but also they're doing better in education. In recent years, this issue has taken the limelight, and it's got a lot of people.
We talked about that education thing. Christina Hoff Sommers' The War on Boys, that is an amazing book. It will give you a lot of insight into how boys are being treated across the education spectrum in the United States and in most of the G7, G20 countries.
Yeah, but I my own experience working with young people, girls sometimes do concentrate better than boys. But boys, in the main part, are more physical there. They need a lot more, less structure, I would say, in education.
Well, and you need to get them tired.
I think Norway, Finland, Sweden's system is very, very good, because what they do is they just allow kids to be kids. Mm-hmm. They have, boys are a bit more rambunctious, so they give them more break time.
For sure.
Yeah. So they structure around the young person individually a learning plan.
Right. And kids, school is like a job. It shouldn't be a job. It should be a journey of discovery. Right. Yes. And they work, what are they? They're in quotes, work for 7 to 8 hours a day. Kids can't concentrate like that.
No, they can't.
After 3 or 4 hours, they're done. They're done.
By the way, it's such a. But I've seen her work before with The War on Boys and so on. I think the problem is she's coming from more of a homeschool angle, where in reality most parents can't afford to homeschool their kids. Let's call it space.
Again, two incomes. It requires two incomes.
She's going down this narrative. Oh, every kid should be homeschooled. Most parents can't afford it. They can't. They can't afford it.
Think that's the drive, but I think she would encourage.
Yeah, no, I just looked through one of her interviews. I was looking at one of her interviews there with that says America.
She would prefer that. Oh, right.
She would prefer it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely a great idea. If we live in a world where people could be homeschooled, absolutely brilliant idea. It is very good. It's a good system, but the vast majority of parents can't afford it.
Right.
In reality, so the education system has to be reformed in some way.
Right.
Has to be reformed.
Well,
look at systems actually work.
Right. It's the Prussian model to teach people how to functionally work in factories.
And
that's why there's bells.
Yeah. And look at the successful countries. Look at Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and other countries have got rid of the Prussian model for the most part.
God.
And went with their own system. And guess what? It works. A hell of a lot better.
God, I wish.
Yeah. A hell of a lot better.
Asking, why are young men falling behind?
It wasn't so long ago that men enjoyed a clear advantage in American society. But these days, a different story is emerging. Men and boys falling behind.
Boys are not simply falling behind.
Oh, there's your boy from Dad Saves America. I sold John
America, yeah. There we go.
Relative to girls, but they're falling behind in absolute terms from prior generations of boys.
If a group is falling behind in society, we don't tell them to pick themselves up by their bootstraps. We spend billions of money in taxpayer-funded charities and think tanks to try and work out what's going on and to try and bring them along for the ride. That's not happening with men.
They don't have a stable job, a wife, a white picket fence, or little rugrats running around the house. They often try to follow their parents' way of life, but it just doesn't work. It seems somewhere along the way they messed up. They think to themselves, I choked, I got lazy.
I've seen that literally in my own sphere. Children who are attempting to mimic their parents' success with no money and no way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
No plan.
the Thanksgiving or Christmas holiday thing, right? Like, I want a Thanksgiving or Christmas holiday like when I used to go to grandma's, right? Except they don't have money. They can't afford the thing. It's just
They can't afford it. No.
They can't afford it.
It's not going to work.
Right.
No.
And
the sad thing is,
here's a good one. So every X amount of time, like once or twice a year, family pictures, right? Just so we can have a new family picture of me and mama and the kids, right? But they can't afford it. And they don't have their own home. They don't have a stable structure, and at the same time, while attempting to mimic their parents, they can't. It's like they were sold a bill of goods and they're just not going to get those things. They're just not. They don't have the same access.
And also, it's just down to kids being too wrapped up in cotton wool as well. Comes down to that, like they don't understand that the mum or dad got together and then they built their house out of hard work and grit and working 70 or 80 hours a week.
Right. Oh, there's work. Yeah.
There's a lot of work involved getting to that end goal.
It's sacrifice.
A lot of young people, there's a lot of sacrifice. But a lot of young people see all this and they think, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and they try to run around the place, but they get nowhere because they don't actually have a structured plan. They have no plan. They don't even know how to put together a plan.
Right.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Like before, I said, if you taught these kids how to budget, right, how to handle their taxes, and how to talk to the police, they would all be way better off, right? Because in that is inherent a form of functional respect, right? If you and I were to meet in a random place, let's say we're at the pub, and you bump into me on the way through, I'd say, oh, excuse me, and I would then get out of your way.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Or I might be like, hey, you bumped me. You must want to buy me a beer. Well, you know what I'm saying? I'd say something funny. I wouldn't be like, I'm going to punch you in the face because you touched me weird. You just bumped a dude.
I think the sad thing with young people these days, especially under 35 group that I've dealt with over the years, is unfortunately, you won't see them in the pub because most of them don't want to leave the bubble that they're living in. I don't know if it's down to budget. Yeah, it's not good. It's Peterson and others have put it nicely. They call it Peter Pan syndrome, forever young.
Oh, that dude Homath talks about that all the time. It's the good boy stage. I'm being a good boy. Give me the thing. I'm being a good boy. You need to get to a place.
No, not what Homath says. When I talk about Peter Pan syndrome, is they'll go out, they'll work, they'll come home, they'll play video games, and they just don't want to get outside that little. They don't want to grow up.
Right, but it's the same thing from his perspective as well, right? Because that functionally that is, I'm a good boy, I should get the things, right? But if you don't go out to get the things, if you don't pursue the things, they will not just come to you, right?
No,
you can't. There's no such thing as self-actualizing a job. You either get the job or you don't get the job. That kind of thing.
To get up, you get up, go onto the website or wherever it is, access the job, apply for it, do the job. They don't seem to want to do anything. They just wait for, I don't know, somebody knocking their front door and just hand them stuff.
Guess what's not going to happen?
The sad thing is, the sad thing is I blame a lot of it on parents. A lot of it is down to parents. A lot of parents, they want to give their kids the best life they possibly can, to give them things that they never had growing up.
Right, helicopter parents or lawnmower parents, like knocking all the problems from around them so they don't ever have to suffer any hardship.
And what they've done is physically and mentally hobble their kids.
Pretty much.
To the point where they're not functional. Yes, they're functional to go and do the job, come home, but that's it. They can't function anywhere else.
Right, but the transitions from the 60s, 70s to the 80s, 90s, and then through the 2000s till now, the 60s, the 70s, 80s, whatever, like in that range. So like the American dollar is worth about 20 cents ish on what it was worth in 1971, right? And people aren't getting paid 5 times more than they were back then, right?
Yeah, but
so it means that the dollar is moving.
Also,
go ahead.
It's also down to, I wouldn't say it's just down to the value of money decreasing over time. It's also down to the kids not getting off their backsides and putting in that extra bit of grind.
Right. Well, no, but that makes sense. But the problem is when you go to a double income mandatory situation, then there isn't someone home when the kids get home. There isn't a guiding light or a guiding force in their life that's familial in nature. It's just not there, right?
No,
a lot
but
of
also,
this comes from latchkey kids in the 80s and 90s. A lot of this is a lot of latchkey kids, right?
Yeah, I could see that point, but it's also down to the parents just giving them a good kick up the arse every now and again.
Well,
that's
I remember as a kid
and also
going down to the park.
Kids
when I was a kid, I would go down to the park around the corner from where I lived, and then all the kids in the neighborhood would ride their bikes out there, and we'd all gather up, right? And then if you decided to say some wildly individualistic shit, you get slapped in the face. Pop.
Yeah.
So the next time you go out there, you realize this is a negotiation. I can be as much of an individual as I want to the point where I'll get smacked in the face. Right? So you learn to negotiate socially. These kids don't need to learn to negotiate socially at all because they're like their anonymity, internet, echo chamber, algorithm pumped. They're screwed. Right? Because they're not getting good guidance. Right?
No, they're definitely not. They're not getting any guidance whatsoever. Sad, really.
All right, here we go.
But is it really their fault? Or is it a failing system?
You are watching Cold Fusion TV.
But it's now clear that there are many boys and men who have fallen behind, and that we have to be able to think about gender inequality in both directions. One thing that makes that hard is that the changes have been so quick, so rapid, that it's hard to update our beliefs to match the new facts. It's a bit like the needles on a compass swinging round. Suddenly north is south and south is north. It's really quite disorienting. But it's clear that on some measures at least now men are lagging quite a way behind, not least on college campuses. That reflects the fact that boys are trailing girls throughout the education system. 2/3 of the top academic performers in high school, measured by GPA, are girls. And 2/3 of those at the bottom are boys. And it's not just in the US. If we look at the 20 most economically advanced countries in the world, there's on average a 13 percentage point gap in the share of young men and young women with a college degree, with young women much more likely to have a college degree.
I think the problem I have with that is college degrees these days don't do what they used to do. Right.
Yeah,
So it used to be a college degree got you a skill set, right? Something academically you could use in a professional setting, right?
Yes.
And if you didn't do that, you went to a trade school. So in the United States, you'd get done with 8th, maybe 9th grade, and then you'd go learn a trade. You'd become a carpenter. You'd be a pipe fitter. You'd be a boilermaker. You know what I'm saying? Like you would do a thing that helped the infrastructure. You'd become a laborer,
Yes,
and then go ahead.
Yeah, but the sad part is a lot of especially in the G7 countries, a lot of the young people go to primary, secondary, then on to college.
Mm-hmm.
Very few of them look at the trades anymore. Across, by the way, all age groups. None of them want to look at trades. None of them want to get up and get their hands dirty anymore. And they make pretty good. A tradesman can make very good money, but
oh yeah, it's good work. It's really good work.
Let's talk about as they say, the elephant in the room is young people these days are, especially young men, are just for the most part, just lazy. And they've just got it too comfortable. They've never had a hard grind, as they say. They've never had to, as they say in America, pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Mom and dad are just handing them everything.
Right. Well, weak men.
That's why they're falling behind. That's why they're falling behind.
Right. But weak men lead to unsafe times. Right. That's functionally how that works. But with the college thing, a lot of these degrees are worthless degrees. They don't do anything for you. It isn't easy. It used to be that whatever 4-year degree you had, it represented a set of work. Like you had to put your nose to the grindstone, finish the 4 years of college, right?
Yeah.
And then you come out with something other end that showed that you were, when you were young, able to take on a task and complete a big task, right? But now with the majors they have are wildly insane. They don't do anything for anybody. It makes that college party just a drunk hump fest, you know?
Yes, but our colleges are way different from your colleges, I would say. Most of our college degrees are pretty good. Say, I'm just talking from an Irish point of view. And most other G7 countries. I know in the States they have these weird and wacky mix and match
but
degrees.
the problem is we have thousands and thousands of universities here, and you have a limited number based on your population, right?
Yes, and also, most young people when they do go to college do try to study a good degree for the most part. Except philosophy and arts are just a waste of time.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Yeah, but I just say that for the most part, you're not going to get a job out of it. If you want to get a job, the guys go to the STEM fields. In all fairness, go and do business, do something that's realistic. The arts are never going to get you a job. They're not. Let's face it. They're not. They might get you a job at McDonald's, but let's face it. If you want a job, young people, if you're listening,
my philosophy degree is going to get me flipping burgers. Is that what you're saying?
All jokes aside, if you want to do arts, brilliant, fantastic. Do a mean degree first that will get you a job, and guess what? You can do the arts on the weekends.
There you go.
Do arts on the weekends.
Remember,
no problem at all. Have a hobby.
Whatever your college degree is, you still got to eat. You still got to eat.
Yeah, exactly. Guess what? Starving artist look does not get you dates. Just saying.
It doesn't.
Well, it will. If it does get you dates, it's the type of women young men you're just don't. Just don't.
And in some nations, the gap is much bigger.
Just last year, in a Wall Street Journal article titled, "America's Young Men Are Falling Even Further Behind," journalist Rachel Wolf decided to follow a family of 6, the Morenos, all in all a normal family. The thing was, while their only daughter recently graduated from business school and got engaged, her 3 brothers, well into adulthood, are still living with their parents in their childhood bedrooms. When the father was asked about the situation, he stated, quote, "Something is amiss here. We love them. We love having them around. But that's not how you build your life." End quote. When they are
That's what you were talking about earlier, that they haven't been given the tools to build their life.
Yeah.
Right?
And look at the young lady there. She's probably the daughter, and just resuming here. She went away probably from the minute she was able to walk, she got up, helped the mum say in the kitchen and got the house organized or whatever. For the most part. So she had the life tools, you could say, more than the young men. Right.
Well, but look at this picture, right? That's a nice house. That's a very nice space.
Yeah.
Right? Looks like it's wide open, it's airy, we got some nice artwork on the walls, right? But you had to work to be able to afford the art and the sconces and the flowers and the things, you know? So
they didn't magic all just fall out of heaven, as they say.
Right.
Dad actually physically got up every morning, put on his boots, probably left at 7, and didn't come back to 10 that night.
Pretty much.
For most of his life.
Daniel, if he shared this concern, he said, quote, "I just felt so lost. Nothing is really stopping me. It's just myself standing in my own way," end quote. For Daniel, a lot of this had to do with COVID. A loss of connection with his friends led him to drop out of school and become aimless. A study in 2021 by the Survey Center on American Life found that only 26% of men reported having 6 or more close friends. In 1990, it was 55%. And in 2021, those who had 0 friends were 17%. In 1990, it was 3.4%. That's a 500% increase in men with 0 friends.
I don't know how many. I would have to think about it. I think I have maybe 3 or 4 close friends.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm just thinking about myself. I at the point of my phone is blowing up here at the moment when I thought. Anyway,
you don't have any friends with your phone's blowing up?
Yeah, no, sorry. What I'm saying is, I have way more than 6 and 12. Thinking off the top of my head.
Well,
6 to 12 very close friends. You know, guys you can ring up in the morning.
Right.
Just there.
Let's see, 10 or 12 days ago, one of my closest local friends passed away. All right, a couple Sundays back. And then about 3 or 4 weeks before that, one of my friends out in the in the Midwest passed away. And that was a dude I would call all the time.
Yeah.
It was my buddy AJ. Great dude. He was a truck driver. We talked about him truck driving, and he loved trains. We talked about trains and the O-scale trains and the N-scale trains. And, like, we would just, bullshit for a couple hours and just, catch up with each other. And, maybe once or twice a month, we'd play a game on the internet and just chat and hang out, With my other friend that was local, we'd go out, have dinner. They'd come back. We'd hang out, play games. You know what I'm saying? Like friends do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have 3, maybe 4. I had 6 until about 6 weeks ago, and then I lost 2 of them. Sad. It's sad, but I mean, I get what he's saying.
Yeah, I get what he's saying as well. And I think I've just met people over time. Plus, some Irish were very, very kind of friendly people anyway. Well,
it's not
I
chat
to everyone. So I am.
That's what your boy Garen Noon says. He seems to think y'all are a little bit aggressive.
He's from Mayo. Mayo doesn't
thing?
Yeah, that's Mayo. That's Mayo. They're very odd people up there.
Mayo and Donegal don't count, huh? All right.
But this statistic alone shocks me about young people.
Yeah. Well, because you have the internet, right? Your friend is the internet. Your friend is the AI. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Sad, really.
Since 1990. Research also shows that women tend to invest more in maintaining their friendships than men do, so female friendship rates tend to be higher. But while COVID may have made many men drift apart, including Daniel, something else is going on here. COVID didn't cause every man to start falling behind, and also not in the same way. In the US, the percentage of men living at home between the ages of 25 and 34 has virtually doubled since the 1980s. So what gives? Well, rising house prices are an obvious factor in the West, so there's less shame in living in a generational household, but it goes deeper. Regardless of affiliation, the broader consensus over the last 3 to 5 years appears to be that traditionally male-dominated industries like manufacturing are shrinking, while service industries are reaching all-time highs around the world. And those sectors are the ones that men aren't conventionally trained to excel in. Just the statistical reality puts young men at a disadvantage, and that's not all. Traditionally male-dominated fields are more commonly accepting of women. Ultimately, that's a good thing, but it does provide extra competition for men.
And women looking for a job or even a career are discovering there is a whole new world out there.
As it turns out, roles traditionally filled by men now being offered to women. Here's 3 on your side's Gary Harper.
This iron worker has made a successful career for herself.
I love physical work.
You may find Adrienne Donato 30 feet above the ground, welding and using a handheld jackhammer. She even worked for the same company through 2 pregnancies.
They were very supportive.
Iron workers are just one of many fields now trying to recruit women. The industry just announced the new paid maternity benefits.
They're going to make good money, but they're going to have great benefits to go along with it. So they'll have that health insurance and a pension plan.
In the world of dating, things are changing for young men too.
Wow.
I have something to say about that, but I don't know what would be acceptable. Not that my take is super bad, but I have seen what happens when you use DEI type hiring practices in certain kinds of fields.
But I also have to understand that a lot of these trades are struggling to find people to fill these roles.
Oh, yeah, anybody at all.
That's why they're reaching. I think that's the point there is, I think my takeaway from that is the fact that young men are giving out, or just whinging about, oh, there's no jobs and this and that. There's plenty of jobs. There's a lot of jobs out there.
Oh, for sure.
Are they good jobs? Are they good jobs? No, they're not. Some of them are not good jobs. In the trades, it's hard work.
You sweat for your money. Oh, bro, you sweat for your money. Yeah. You get dirty.
I know. The sad thing is, see that young lady, she's up there, she's busting her backside from 2 pregnant looks at. No problem at all to her. I know, I see a lot of young men, especially around certain spheres, I would say. I'm thinking about the Andrew Tate crowd.
Right.
Give out whinge and saying, oh, women are doing this and women are doing that. Women are taking your jobs because you're too lazy to get off your backsides and go out and do what that lady's just done there.
Right.
That's
and
pretty much.
If she can do the work I don't care what your body is like. I don't care what your plumbing is. If you can do the work, do the work. But there are some things when it comes to use of force where for the most part, it should be a male individual doing that job. It should be.
Well, outside armed forces and police, so on. I'm talking about getting out there and building industries. Yeah. Okay, firefighter. I'm talking about building countries.
Infrastructure stuff, right?
There. Yeah, infrastructure.
Right, but that's
going
to right. But a lot of the problem with that is a heat regulation issue. The male body versus the female body heat regulation.
Oh, what the point I'm getting to is young men are too lazy to go off and go away and do it.
Right. Well, both of the things we said are true. Both things we said are true.
Yeah, both sides are right and in their own ways. But the sad thing is, most young men, there's plenty of work out there. As one young man said earlier, if you just get out your own way, there's plenty out there.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to dude.
When it comes to dating, for many Gen Z men, they can practically kiss that goodbye. In the US, for example, during the 1970s and 80s, the percentage of men who weren't married by age 40 were in the single digits. But by 2021, that had ballooned to 28%. As young men struggle to excel in life, they tend to appear less attractive to a lot of women. Word on the street is that young women just can't find a good man anymore, so many quit dating altogether. But the
that's a hypergamy issue, and it also has to do with
culture has also.
When we go to check the statistics on online dating, we was watching Pearl Davis, and she was talking about this, right?
Yeah.
So 10% of the women swipe the same way. 90% of the women swipe the same way on like 10% of the dudes, right? So that's the bottom 10% of dudes are just their ass out, or the bottom 90% of dudes they're out, like they're just not going to get any kind of play. And if that's
they're not going to get any,
right?
But they're not going to get any play if they're living at home, right on the couch, and surfing.
For sure.
Yeah,
but there are men who are out there who are attempting to make an effort, but they are unattractive to women in general, right? Whereas if there was an organic interaction, maybe they would be able to find somebody.
Yeah,
right?
if they go, just put down the app and go out and meet people. It's not that hard. Take up a hobby. On the weekends, you're free every Saturday and Sunday, guys.
But you say that, and based on your age, you might not be aware of the realities of what these kids are putting up with, dude.
Oh, right? I understand that they're putting up with a lot, but they can also better themselves. As I'm always saying to young men, go out there and better yourself. They wouldn't swipe on an app. I said, yeah, have you tried the local hiking club?
But I'm talking about a guy who got his stuff together, and he's got a house, and he's got a job, and he's got all the things, right? Why would he get married anyway? At least in the United States, right? Why would he do that? Because you're going to be going into a contract with someone who's encouraged to break the contract and then continue to elicit funds from you, right?
Yeah.
That's right. So it's just super dangerous. Even if you get married, even if you know what I'm saying, even if you achieve that goal, right? It's super unsafe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But if you go into any partnership with that mindset, it's never going to work.
No.
If you go into any business agreement with already the element of distrust in the back of your mind all the time, it's never going to work.
But it's not an element of distrust. It is baked into the system. In the United States, family law courts are courts of equity. They're not courts of law, right? So you can make wild accusations in courts of equity that may or may not be true, right?
Yeah.
However, it doesn't matter how right the male is. The male, statistically, over 80% of the time, loses. And not just loses a little bit. For providing for the family, he's got to be out of the house. And since he's out of the house, the percentage of time he's actually physically with the children is less. So he gets paid, he has to pay out more money, and he gets way less time with the kids, right? Because it's been legislated that way with no-fault divorce, right? It's just been legislated that way. Through those, so it's not great. So even if a dude does achieve that goal, he's still at a huge risk, right?
Oh,
Statistically.
But the sad part about a lot of this is when I see young men, especially, they're so happy to be involved with someone. no matter who it is, as long as it's got a pulse.
Yeah, social
But they
creatures.
rush. They rush.
They
just
do.
rush into. Yeah, they rush into a lot of these major life decisions. I call them getting engaged, getting married, and moving in.
Yep, for sure.
Like, think about it. Most of these guys usually are going out with the woman less than 18 months before they're married. You know, they're making a lot of life choices before they actually do a lot of the life work beforehand. Like get to know the person.
Right, but the thing is, if we've
Leave
been
them together
teaching
before
our
you get
children
married.
that there's an immediate satisfaction thing. If you want something, you can get it immediately. I don't want to go to the store to get toilet paper. I'm going to have someone deliver it. I don't want to. I don't want to cook my food tonight. I'm going to have someone deliver it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And that's the sad thing is, a lot of these, you see it because I've had dealings with the family courts, especially with under 35s, and you're looking and kind of going, wait a minute, you knew each other, 3 months? You got engaged, you got her pregnant, and now you're, a surprise, it doesn't work. As they get to know that the other person could be crazy, or vice versa,
right?
Man or woman, whatever.
I think the family
common
law
sense
court
goes out the window when little brain
does.
starts thinking in a lot of these cases.
So the family law court, including all my legal fees and all that stuff, probably has cost me between $400,000 and $450,000 over the years. Lots of money to just secure and make sure that my children were safe, and just legal fight after legal fight. Just
you know what a lot of guys have done in family courts?
What's that?
A lot of guys in the end they just turn around and there are a lot of them are called deadbeat dads. But I can understand why a lot of guys are saying, do you know what? It's not worth the fight. That's just not worth it. I'll pay my money every month and just, you know what? I'll get on my life, you get on your life, and just walk away. I think they're criticized for that as well.
Right, but the problem is the court legislates that they must pay more money, right? And a lot of these are situations where, since the female has complete 100% control of the reproductive path, if they choose to get an abortion, the man can't say no. And if she chooses to keep the child...
Wait a second. Guys have an option too. Put a Johnny on it. Very simple, guys.
No,
you don't want to have a kid? Put a Johnny on it.
I understand. I get it. But the woman is just as responsible as the man.
Exactly. Both sides are responsible.
Right.
100%.
100%. Right. But if no discussion was had beforehand, right? If the fella says, look, I'm not financially ready for it, right? She can say, I don't care if you're financially ready for it. You're going to pay. You will pay. You have no choice. Right. And a lot of it has to do with both of them are bad faith actors to one another at that point. There's no grace there. There's no mercy. There's no let's work something out. There's none of that. People want to adopt children. That is an option.
There's a lot of options out there.
Yeah, but they don't want to do that. They want to keep the child and force the fellow to pay.
Like not being smart when it comes to a lot of these women who, by the way, try to milk guys. Most guys see this coming a mile away. It's not a magical surprise that she woke up one morning and she was a raging whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come out of the blue.
It doesn't.
Most guys, by the way, guys, any fella listen, if you have even a hint that there's a red flag, walk away. It's not worth it. Walk away before you get nailed in family court and nailed somewhere.
Oh yeah, courts of equity.
And by the way, if you don't want to have kids, guys, put a Johnny on it. Very simple, lads. You know what I mean? There's plenty of options out there.
Nice. All right, here we go.
Yeah, loads of them.
Has shifted. According to the Washington Post, the Me Too movement of the mid-2010s caused men to be reluctant to approach women in real life for fear of being perceived as a threat.
We're going to talk about the consistent phenomenon of men not approaching women when they're out, when they're at the coffee place, when they're at the workplace. It's, I guess, just a plague upon society that is impacting young women right now who want to be approached and who want a little bit of attention to be paid to them. In the age group of 18 to 25, for young men, around 50% of them say they have never approached a woman, not once, not ever. Now, when asked why they can't find this drive to do so, most of them are expressing that they don't want to be seen as a creep or be accused of sexual harassment in the wake of this whole Me Too movement thing that's happened.
That being said, I've heard and seen a lot of stories about how young men behave out there.
Go ahead.
They literally just don't have any game socially. Pretty much. They can blame whatever. Most young men can't talk. They're just useless at it. They can blame whatever other reason. They just don't have game.
But the problem with this is I know people who've been accused of felonies that they didn't commit and their lives were ruined.
Oh yeah, I've seen that, but that's always gone. It's like it will happen, or it doesn't always happen. I'm just saying it's those outlier cases do happen, yes, but it's not on a regular basis.
You would think it was
in more society, more social interactions that won't end that way.
You would think it was an outlier. I have worked for some industries where I am in a position to receive those kinds of reports, and the percentage of those who have lied about the interaction to achieve some outside goal is massive, over 30%.
Wow.
And the other ones are nothing burgers, right? Someone perceived something, and then you do the investigation, and you're like, it isn't what you thought, and then they get pissed, and then they get litigious, right? And then it is insane, right?
Well,
people taking offense because they want to take offense and then attempting to game the system. As in the industry that I was in, it went wildly out of control, destroyed multiple careers, people being accused of felony bad stuff, right? That may or may not have happened, or it's not provable, or it was just used as a pawn to achieve some other goal. It's bad, dude.
Yeah.
So I can.
The law, actually, by the way, that's one thing the law should catch up on, is making false reports of that to carry the same weight as the crime that they're being accused of.
That would be perfect.
In the story. Because I've seen I do agree with you. I've seen.
Yeah. Well, I've
seen
had men
go very badly,
in my office say, I did not do the thing that I was accused of. These are grown men, competent, functional men, crying to me in my office, and there's nothing I can do about it. All I can do is file the paperwork, and then once it's filed, I have to tell them to go talk to somebody else, because now that I'm involved in it, there's nothing I can do.
Exactly.
Right.
I understand what you're saying, but
oh my God, it's so bad, dude.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying, because I've seen entire lives destroyed for this. And by the way, these women who do this should be sentenced, and harshly sentenced for doing it, and put a stop to it.
Yeah.
Because not only are they disrespecting the law, they're also disrespecting true victims who this has happened to.
Yes, 100%. Because I've had people come into my office who had the bad thing happen to them for real. Right.
And I see the statistic here now with young men being so petrified. Talk to anyone.
For
They have all this going around the back of the head. It's not, as I said, I made a bit of a flippant comment about them not having game, but it's not just that they have so much social pressure.
Right. Well, but the don't have game thing is also right. But that also comes from every time you go to talk to a woman, they're like, ew, gross, whatever, right? Part of the problem is they don't understand that a woman, although she says, hey, I want these nice things, if she's not attracted to you, it doesn't matter if you give her all of the nice things. She doesn't want to be with you, right?
If a woman, by the way, to young men out there, if a woman's with you and she's just bleeding you dry financially, or walk away quickly, because the last thing you want to do is be trapped with that craziness for the next 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
Paying a big lot of money next 22 years.
You get to be an incel simp as voted on by the constituency in your local area. So all right, here we go.
And they're really not helping themselves.
I've only gone from like the boy meets girl to like hell level destruction. This guy at the gas station comes up to me. He is smoking a cigarette, blows the smoke in my face, and says, I really want to hang out with you tonight. I said, oh.
So like most things,
that dude had no game, Patrick. That she just
no
game.
No, he was a dickhead. He was just a dickhead.
Two sides to this. Reduced only to dating apps, men tried their luck for companionship there. Unfortunately, it's been a rough game. Each woman would receive thousands of matches, while it's not unusual for a man to be swiping for days and not receive anything. As for the last layer in a sandwich of bad misfortune, there's also a forming political polarization between the genders. Gen Z men are swinging conservative, while Gen Z women are more liberal. The end result is a silent gender conflict among young people, and more young men end up being single than ever before. Even the men that are doing better, the ones that are out of the house, possibly married, and building families, there's still remarkably similar issues. As Richard Reeves puts it, quote, "The sense a lot of young men have is not being sure that they're needed or that they're going to be needed by their families, by their communities, by society," end quote.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty massive thing right there. In fact, I think
that leads to an awful lot of social disconnect with an awful lot of young men.
Oh, big time. We're going to end up on this concept, and we'll actually come back for an arc 2 because this really requires a second look. So when men do not feel that they're needed or do not feel like they're going to be needed by families, community, society, it breaks them down.
It does.
Right.
And I've seen it. I've seen a lot of young men.
For sure.
Yeah. But I've seen it happen to young women as well. They get so much pressure from society, they shut themselves down as well. Happens on both sexes, by the way. More so from young men, because young women seem to have better regulate their feelings and emotions a lot better than men. Men are kind of more keep everything inside, unfortunately.
Right. Well, we're expected to produce, and we generally deal better with things than with people. Right. So if you're a producer and you do things or make things, there's an expectation of society that the man will have and or do or be able to perform those functions. And when they can't, and then they don't know if they're going to be needed, right? Yeah. That there's a sense of loss there before you even start the game, you know?
And the sad, as I say, it circles back to the fact that these poor young men, then when they do eventually meet someone, they go head first into situations where they're not mentally capable of handling.
Yep.
Probably the best way I can put it. They get trapped very easily.
All right.
Very, very easily. By bad actors out there.
Hate that. That is so, so bad. Yeah. So, all right. For Patrick McCallum and our missing Doubting Thomas, I am Alex Johansson. Please.
You forgot your name there for a moment, didn't you?
No,
you did.
Dude.
You did. You had,
I was looking at the damn screen, and I'm so sad that I'm just like, oh. Right? It's like trying to eat a piece of fruit that's too big. You're like, ah. Anyway, so like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things. Help us beat the algorithm, and we'll come back for Arc 2 in next few days. All right, everybody, be good.